And joining us now are the Democratic Party chairs of Wisconsin, Ben Wickler, and in Georgia, Congresswoman Nikema Williams and Congresswoman Williams. First, let's start with Georgia. What does the get out the vote effort for Democrats look like there?
Andrea, we know that in battleground Georgia, where we only won by 11,780 votes, that means between now and November 5th, we have to continue to talk to every single person that we can reach. Last night, I wish I could have been there with First Lady Michelle Obama when she was giving these remarks to young people in my district, but I was at Georgia Tech in an auditorium full of young people who were helping us reach other young people to get out the vote, because we know that's what it's going to take. It's going to take us reaching other people once we've cast our early vote, which a lot of people have, because we have shattered every early voting record in our state's history with over 3 million people already voting. But once we vote, then we go and reach other people and bring them to the polls with us, because we understand the stakes in this election, and it's going to come down to turnout. We know that it's going to be close. We keep hearing that, but we knew that from the beginning, that in battleground states, just like yours, Ben, turnout matters, and it means we've got to get our people to the polls, and we're doing just that.
And Ben Wickler, let's talk about Wisconsin. Both Trump and Harris are going to be there tonight. Harris is in Madison. Trump is in Green Bay. The race tightens a lot in your state. And it's partly because of that tighter than expected Senate race where Tammy Baldwin won comfortably last time, is being attacked by her Republican opponent with a lot of money. They're attacking her same-sex partner. What's going on there, and how could it also affect the top of the ticket?
Wisconsin is the ultimate nail-biter state. We're the only state where 4 of the last 6 presidential races has come down to less than 1 percentage point. Now we're right there alongside Georgia, right on a knife's edge. And as Chair Williams was saying, the on-the-ground get-out-the-vote operation is absolutely critical in the final stretch. Folks can sign up at wisdems.org/volunteer if they want to be part of it. What we're seeing on the Republican side is a 100% negative, massive scorched earth flood of ads in the presidential race, in the Senate race, in House races, in state legislative races. The Democratic side, a combination of the air war with a message around freedom, especially reproductive freedom, democracy, and an economy that works for working people. But on the Democratic side, much more than the Republican side, that's paired with a ground game operation where our volunteers, organizers, our allied groups are on the ground in communities all over the state, turning out voters to vote for Democrats at every level of the ballot. So this could be a squeaker, but I give us the edge for ground game energy in the state of Wisconsin.
In both the presidential, do you think there'll be ticket splitting? What about that Senate race?
I mean, Wisconsin is a state where ticket splitting is not uncommon. That said,
right.
A lot of the Republican strategy has been to get Trump-Tammy voters to switch over to Eric Hovde in the Senate race. It's not about persuading people who are voting for Democrats to vote for either Republican. And when you look at how Republicans are organizing, Elon Musk's super PAC is only talking about Trump. The Koch network's super PAC is only talking about Eric Hovde. They're fragmented. They don't have the kind of disciplined, focused organization that the Harris campaign has had, that Democrats in Wisconsin have had. It's how we've won most of the last statewide elections in our state, by doing the work to make sure people fill out their whole ballot and vote for Democrats at every level. So I would rather be us than them in the Senate race and the presidential, and frankly, in the state legislative contests and toss-up House races here as well. But make no mistake, every poll, every model says that this is going to be a squeaker. So if someone's watching right now who has someone who lives with them who hasn't cast a ballot yet, go help them cast an early vote today. And that ballot could be the one that tips this whole election.
And Congresswoman Williams, the Georgia Secretary of State, of course, Brad Raffensperger, we all know him from what happened last time around. He said a short time ago he's ready to defend the results of the election, that it's a clean election. How concerned are you, though, this time around, after Donald Trump tried to overturn the Georgia results 4 years ago, that they will try that again? They've already tried and lost in an early round what they were going to do at the local level.
Andrea, we have been in court over this issue because we know that when we tell Georgia voters to turn out and cast their ballots, those ballots should be counted and certified. And so we won those suits in court, and we are continuing to do everything that we can to make sure that every vote that is cast is counted. And it's indicative of the campaign of that Vice President Harris is running, because she's not running to be a president for just Democrats or Republicans. She will be a president for all Georgians, all Americans. And that's what this campaign campaign is about. It's about getting past the division, chaos, and hate of the Republican Party of Donald Trump. And it's about moving us in a new way forward with someone who has a vision for this country so that people can get ahead, not just get by, and also fighting for our freedoms. And that includes our freedom to vote, making sure that in this seat that I hold, that was held by the late Congressman John Lewis, that every vote that is cast is counted, and we stand up for free and fair elections. Vice President Harris is the president to move this country forward and to bring us together. And so when people go out and cast their ballots for freedom and our future in this country and in Battleground, Georgia, they know that Vice President Harris is the only choice to make that happen.
And just finally to you, Congresswoman, you've got a lot of Hispanic and Puerto Rican voters in Georgia. Are you hearing a lot of impact from the garbage comment, the racist comment from Sunday night from the Trump comedian? Are you hearing anything from what happened last night with the president's gaffe? You know, is that being picked up?
So, Andrea, what we know here is we've always had to build multiracial coalitions. And so we've been doing the work on the ground in every community. We have a strong presence organizing in the Latino community, organizing in the Black community, organizing. Ben, we got white dudes for Kamala down here that we're organizing as well. But so we're building multiracial coalitions because that is our only path to victory. So we are not focused on one comment or one issue. We're focused on people being able to get ahead, not just get by in this economy. And they understand that Donald Trump has continued to try to divide us and take us back to a dark past. And Georgia voters just aren't having it. We're moving forward. So people can go to iwillvote.com/Georgia, find their closest early voting location, because early voting ends Friday, November 1st.